On this week's episode of BJ in the Morning, we're going to talk about the history of BJ in the Morning, part day. Welcome.
Ooh.
To BJ in the Morning.
We missed it. We missed it that time. But it's fine.
Because I'm Juan.
And I'm Brendan.
And this is part day of the history of BJ in the Morning.
I feel like we need to now see if we can just say the same thing at the same time for as long as possible. I feel like it could be good.
Good.
Or play that game where it's like, what word am
I thinking of?
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know the game?
Yeah. What word am I thinking of?
Smoking meat.
Oh, now you're thinking of that.
Well, you brought it up right before we hit record.
I know. Now I'm hungry. Now I gotta do something.
I had burgers for dinner tonight.
I do have a recipe I want to try.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that for Easter, and it's like gonna...
It's going to take 47 hours.
Yeah. I was like looking it up. I was like, dude, this is literally going to take like 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck.
Not today.
Not today.
Not Easter Day.
Nope.
But we're not talking really about Easter, even though it is coming up. It's right around the corner.
Hey.
Hey.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. It's like 4 or 5 days from now.
Happy early Easter.
Early Easter.
Hey.
Hey.
Happy early Easter.
Happy early Easter. Also, we should point out the elephant in the room.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We got a sign.
The art department came through.
Art department really came through.
Came THRU.
And it definitely took us way longer than it should have to install it.
Yeah.
And put lights on it.
Yeah.
But it looks badass.
It's awesome.
It's really great.
I think we do need to get the command strips.
Yeah, probably. It's probably going to fall at any moment.
Yeah.
So if it does fall during this episode, we'll leave it in.
And we're charging you.
What?
We're charging the audience.
The audience? If it falls?
If it falls, you pay us $5. So we can replace it.
If it falls, you share it to 5 people. Share this episode to 5 people.
And pay us $5.
And $5. But let's get back into what we were talking about last week, which is basically what led us to
BJ in the Morning.
Yeah, BJ in the Morning, and whatever else we got cooking.
The creative team that we are.
We are.
Because I feel like we make a good team.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
No, it's legit. I don't think we've worked on something that we've like not wanted to work together. None of that made sense. That came out of my mouth right now.
We've never worked on something that we didn't like or enjoy.
Yeah, and like put our all into. And sometimes even just taking breaks from making things has like been really, really solid because we focus on learning new things and broadening our horizons. Enjoying the journey, as we said in the last episode too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we worked on almost all of our stuff together. I cannot think of one thing other than in high school that we haven't worked on.
Except for the photography, which is different.
That's totally different. Yeah,
totally different ball game.
But when learning photography and when learning, those kind of things, it was always like, oh, what about this? Should this be a thing? Like, how do you think about this idea? It's like collaborative.
Yeah.
In getting into the process, and then it's like, hey, tell me this, and you'll send me shots, even though I'm not like super savvy when it comes to photography. You'll send me shots and be like, how's this look? Should I do this? Should I change this? Like,
yeah.
It's just always it's always been that way.
It's always been a team dynamic here.
Yeah, dude.
So when we ended the last episode, you had just gotten back from Kansas City.
You
Missouri. Flew back. And boy, are your arms tired.
Oh, boy, are they. I think that was an interesting...
I do have to say, that's Rick Glassman. I stole that from Rick Glassman.
Yeah.
I have to say it because he says it all the time. And someone's going to be like, oh, you're stealing jokes.
You're joke stealer.
You're joke stealer. Not genuine.
But like,
anyways,
everyone's heard that joke before in their life,
Sure.
you know?
Sure.
But yeah, so I couldn't tell you most of that summer, like what happened most of that summer, because I know I had started college that summer as well.
Yeah.
I started at the community college here, just kind of trying to figure things out, because we come from the generation where they're like, if you don't go to college, you're not going to make anything.
You're going to be nothing.
So I went to college.
Here I am with barely a high school diploma.
I mean, I barely went to college the first time,
right.
you know?
Right.
But I got into college just kind of trying to figure out things on my own. We were still hanging out, and we started making like new traditions around this time where we were like going to the movies once a week. Like, I think we started it kind of in high school, but we really followed through for like the next couple years of going to the movies once a week.
Yeah, it was like no matter what movie came out on the premiere night, because a movie premiered every week pretty much.
Yeah.
And whether it was good, bad, it looked good or looked bad, whatever, we're going to go see it. Like, we saw, like, Jack and Jill or some stupid movie like that.
I know there was one night we went to see, this was later on, but we went to see Doctor Who, like the Christmas special in theaters, and then immediately drove across town to go to a midnight premiere of, I think it was like Clash of the Titans or something.
Yeah.
And I slept through it.
Clash of the Titans was awesome.
I want to say it was that. It might have been a different movie, but I know I was just so bored that I slept through the movie.
I like it. I like that movie, though.
But we saw movies like King Kong. I remember we saw Scott Pilgrim, I think 8 times in theaters. Legit. We kept that one in theaters at our local theater.
Yeah.
What else did we see? There was tons of.
I know we saw Iron Man a ton of times, but that was before high school ended.
Yeah. I remember going to see The Great Gatsby, and we even started like dressing up at movies. Do you remember this? Like, we would get huge groups of our friends to go to these midnight premieres and like dress up. Like, I remember The Great Gatsby. We were all wearing like bow ties and like button up shirts, and I don't remember what else we would have saw where we dressed up as, but like, what do you got?
But we dressed up at.
Oh, we went hard for the Avengers.
The Avengers
in 2012. So this is a big gap. There's a big jump because we were just watching movies. College. I was going to college. You were working. We were working at the same job at the time too, right? We were dishwashers for most of this period.
At this time.
So we were going on a lot of hikes. I think I was in a band for a lot of that time too.
We went on a hike and I broke my face.
Do you want to tell that story? I don't think you've told it on the podcast.
I haven't?
I don't think so.
Well, there was one time we went hiking and what was it? Romero Pools, where they have like the cliff jumping and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is so much fun. You have to do it. Brendan was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And I'm like, oh, come on. I think I got you to do it once.
I jumped a few times.
Okay.
So after you do that first one, it's not so bad.
Yeah. So I finally got Brendan to do it. And then I kept going up, jumping, back up, jumping.
And we had to work later this day.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And so I was like, hey, I'm going to do a flip.
Yo, do a flip.
Yeah, do a flip.
Everyone's cheering.
And I do a flip, and let me just say, this is like a 50-foot drop.
Probably.
Maybe
between 25 to 50 feet.
Yeah. And so I do
it's
a
probably
flip.
Not that much now that I'm really thinking about it.
I think it is, dude. Like, you think of a foot is really not that long.
Yeah. When you jump off, you're in air for a while. Like, for a good couple seconds, you know? You have enough time to look around and be like,
shit.
I just remember before you tell what happened when you flipped. I think the last time I did it, I just pencil dived straight down and I hit the bottom. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. Like, it's like, oh, that's a little creepy. Just going straight to the bottom of this murky, random puddle. It's a puddle of water and some rocks.
Pretty much.
Like, and it is only filled up by like snow melting off the mountains and the monsoons.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a lake. It is legit.
Yeah, it's
puddle.
not very deep. It's not very deep.
It's not very deep at all.
So I jumped in. I did a flip. And then I felt my body do like a 1.5er.
Mm-hmm.
And then I smacked my face on the water, face first.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't, some people would think, water hurt your face?
No, water's like concrete if you hit it fast enough.
If you hit it fast enough, it turns into concrete.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of something else, but
a hard thing. Concrete.
yeah, exactly. And I hit my face so hard that the whole right side of my face was numb. I get up, I can't even open my eye.
Yeah, and we're all like, bad. You're good. You're fine. And I think you, for a second, were like, I'll be fine. I'll be okay.
Can of corn, I'll be fine.
Somebody give me a Diet Coke.
So, I swim back to you guys with my eyes closed because I can't open them. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, ow, my face hurts. And then, like, I just kept getting this, like, burning sensation in my lip. So, everything's cool, whatever.
Then we have to hike back.
It's
like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy hike. It's not a difficult hike.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely, especially after you smack your face that hard on the water, is not an easy hike.
But I don't remember the hike back.
Yeah.
I don't remember the ride home.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember waking up on my couch, not my couch, on a friend's couch,
mm-hmm.
in so much pain that I didn't go to work that day.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was, first of all, was mad that I even went in the first place.
Yeah.
And was
super mad that you did a flip.
Even more mad that I came home hurt.
Yeah.
So she took me to the hospital. I was in the hospital for like 4 or 5 hours. They did x-rays on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I had fractured my eye socket, broke my cheekbone,
mm-hmm.
and pinched a nerve behind my eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
And that nerve, all they did was like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. They just gave me antibiotics.
Yeah.
For the pinched nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out I had also pinched a nerve in my lip that for the next 5 to 6 years, if I were to move my lip, or like when your nose itches and you move it,
mm-hmm.
if I would do that, I would get an electric shock that would go all the way through my face.
Oh, jeez.
And it was horrible.
I'm pretending like I've never heard any of this. So
but even till this day,
mm-hmm.
I'm afraid to move my nose like that.
Yeah.
Because
and you just did it.
I just did it. I've overcome my fears.
You did it, man.
But that's not a creative story, but still.
It is part of the journey.
Part of the journey.
No, because we were doing all these things and we weren't really making anything at the time,
Yeah.
And I don't think it was until like going back to when we were talking about the Avengers, because we'll get more in detail with that. But I started taking like film classes
mm-hmm.
at the community college, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was taking all these different kinds of classes, learning more about screenwriting and editing and all these things. And I just remember hating my screenwriting class
mm-hmm.
so much. And I think we were living together by this time, right? Because it was only not yet, not just yet, maybe not yet.
Not yet.
But I just remember so much coming to you and being like, dude, my screenwriting teacher doesn't know anything,
Yeah.
He was constantly talking about like, oh, I don't grade on creativity. I grade on, you need to write in Courier New because that's how every script is written. You need to punctuate this and you need to have this indent and like this blah, blah, blah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times did we write scripts together and he would straight up just say like, oh, it's bad because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like how does it not make sense? Like, what do you mean it doesn't make sense? Oh, it's just this character doesn't have any development. Okay, tell me what that means. You know, like,
what does it need?
We weren't really writing scripts for the videos we made in high school. We were like, I mean, I did for like Twilighter, but
we were coming up with an idea and we were just doing it, winging it, if you will.
We weren't winging it well,
but we were winging it.
But we were doing our best.
We had our wings flapping hard. You know,
we're like penguin wings, though. You know, they don't lift you up.
Yep, they don't fly.
So I remember getting really mad about I wasn't feeling like I was learning anything except what it needs to look like. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm in this class for another 6 months, and this guy gives me a failing grade on every single script I write. It's like, what do I do? Mm-hmm. Because if I'm following the book, and I still have the book that he made us follow. Yeah. It's like, if I'm following this book and it looks exactly like these pages, what am I really getting graded on? Yeah. And turns out this guy was a problem for a lot of people. It wasn't just me. Because I did turn around and take that class later on. Way better.
A lot better.
But I ended up switching my major, like, in community college to theater, which is what really introduced us back to our friend Eric. Mm-hmm. And he started joining us, and I think he would go to movies with us from time to time, you know? Yeah. But, like, we really started hanging out and going to movies and talking shop, you know, like, oh, this story would be fun. This movie's great. This would be fun to make. Like, once we started hanging out with him more. Yeah. That's what led to us dressing up to go see the Avengers premiere. Mm-hmm. How many of us were in that group? Do you remember?
Oh, easily 10 to 12 people.
So we had Eric dressed up as Cap. Mm-hmm. Flawless, you know, just killed it, knocked it out. I think Andrew was his name. Andrew. Shout out to Eric and Andrew.
He was Hawkeye.
And again, he went like almost classic. Like, I remember him talking about, like, I'm adding more purple into this, even though it was based on the movies, because that was Hawkeye's color. Mm-hmm. And I think we ended up seeing, like, Hawkeye in more purple later on, which was also cool. So shout out to Andrew for doing it first. Right. And then there was Bree, who was Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And then Jesse, also friend of the show, Jesse. We haven't really talked about Jesse in a while. Right. You remember Jesse?
Yeah, I found out I worked with his brother.
Yeah. We talked about this recently.
Told you this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
But anyways.
Brother or cousin, at least, or something. They have the same last name.
Yeah, and it's an interesting last name, too. Yeah. But shout out to Jesse. But he was Bruce Banner. Mm-hmm. And by that, he was in a ripped up shirt and shorts with his hair all crazy. Like, he transformed from the Hulk, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who were you?
I was the Hulk.
The Hulkster.
I was the Hulk. I was shirtless. I painted my whole body green.
Head to toe.
Head to freaking toe.
Seeing you walk in, the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I'll never forget it. And whenever I see pictures, dude, I'm like, dang, he went for it. Yeah. So you were painted completely green. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like subtle green. It was cartoon, like comic book Hulk green. Yeah. You know? Like
legs, arms, face. Butt crack, face, all of it.
Taint.
Just get in there.
And then I was Iron Man, made out of cardboard. Mm-hmm.
Which was still really awesome.
So it started the trend that I like to call my last minute cosplay, which I have done multiple times now for multiple occasions. Mm-hmm. We had just moved, and I had a bunch of boxes. So I was like, I'm going to make an Iron Man costume out of cardboard. Yeah. And I made it. Head to toe, covered almost everything. Mm-hmm. I had boots, I had gloves, I had the mask. It had lights on it. All the things out of cardboard. and it ripped apart before the end of the movie because I had to sit down like so uncomfortably.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that part. But the coolest thing that I think came from that was the recognition that we all got from not only the theater, but people going to see the movie as well. The theater manager, I think, came by and saw us all. Again, we're not getting paid for this. We just did this because we wanted
fun.
to.
Yep.
And we were paraded from auditorium to auditorium.
Yeah.
For all the other showings of the movie to see us. We got like free snacks and drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And it was fun.
Like, it was a lot of fun.
And I think that unlocked something for us, you know, where it was like, oh, we should go to Comic-Con.
Yeah. And we went to Comic-Con probably, I think it was the next year.
Yeah.
The following year.
We didn't dress up the first time.
We just wanted to see what it was all about.
Because I think we were still like kind of breaking out of a like, we need to be nerds in secret, you know, like behind closed doors, we're nerdy as heck.
Yeah.
Which was dumb of us.
Yeah, being a nerd was never cool. And then I think more recently it's become more acceptable, you know, like.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to tell we're nerds or anything from looking at anything around us.
What are you talking about?
But yeah.
But to be honest, so
TBH.
This is something that me and Maria argue about all the time. Not really argue, but
friendly debate.
I think I don't look like a nerd. You know what I mean? Like I'll be like, if I tell somebody that I'm a big Marvel nerd, I read comic books, I watch movies, like all that stuff. I feel like I don't look like that
until you look at your tattoos a little closer.
But with that said, Maria's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you do. I'm like, oh, all right.
And I know I look like a nerd.
I'm just thinking like, I walk into a room as like,
that's why you're a nerd though.
Bad to the bone, freaking leather jacket.
But under the leather jacket is a
Superman shirt.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So we went to Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I think I skipped some stuff on our list, but like I'm not gonna go back now too much.
This is around the same time.
It's all around the same time. Yeah, we go to Comic-Con for the first time.
So let's lump our Comic-Con experiences together because the first time we didn't dress up.
Yeah, we didn't dress up, but we did a lot. I think our friend Eric dressed up. He was a version of Wolverine, right, from the comics. He had really cool little, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. He was dressed up, and then we were not.
He let me borrow those once.
I think we kept them.
I wore them to work. To work, yeah, of course. But then, funny story, that night when I drove home, I totaled my car.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's because the claws.
The claws.
Yeah.
They got in the way. I was driving with the claws.
Just cutting up the windshield. So yeah, that first Comic-Con though, that was when I met Michael Rooker, which was really fun. I don't think we like really met a lot of celebrities.
I met Sam Witwer.
Yeah, you did. We saw Will Wheaton on the streets.
He said what's up to us.
We thought we were kings of the world at that point. You know what I mean? Like, dude, that little kid from Stand By Me said hi to me.
Well, I knew him from Star Trek.
Right.
But
he was in his popularity from like Big Bang Theory at this time. So I think that's where most people recognized him from. Yeah. But he was also wearing a fez.
He was.
I remember that clearly. And then the next year when we went to Comic-Con, did we dress up?
Yeah, I think that's when I was Nightwing. And you were...
Was that when I did Nedry from Jurassic Park?
You did that one of the days, and then you also did the TARDIS Transformer.
The TARDIS Transformer, which most uncomfortable. That was, again, part of the let's build something out of cardboard with a week left. We were living together during this time, and I just remember having all these strips of cardboard everywhere and you not being happy about it. because I just was like leaving shit everywhere. The entire apartment smelled like spray paint.
Yeah.
But then when it all came together, you're like,
pretty sick.
it's pretty sick, dude. We had a working telephone inside of the chest.
Yeah.
That was just a phone connected to my iPhone at the time.
Yeah.
Sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you made a couple calls.
Yeah.
And people were like taking pictures of us and stuff. I don't know. The whole thing was really fun. It was another full suited cardboard nightmare. But
you were featured in a magazine.
I was it was on a website. It was on
thing.
Nerdist.com.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what did they say in the thing? I don't really remember. It was like, top prize goes to.
Yeah, it was like the best, most
like
creative
cosplay,
or something like that.
And just because I had like Bad Wolf written on the side, and like I had little hash marks from the silence, and like I had the scarf, and all the things. There were so many nods to Doctor Who throughout that.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, sold it. But the highlight of wearing that was, I am blanking. John Barrowman. There we go. John Barrowman walked by us right when I turned, really confused. Like, I can't move. I can barely move. I've been duct taped so many times throughout the day that I'm just like, and he's John Barrowman from Doctor Who is walking by the same time, and he just gives me like a, you know, coolest moment.
You're like, oh my god,
that was up there.
Oh my god,
and he's walking by with two dudes in thongs. You know what I mean? So Comic-Con was great. We've dressed up a handful of times. What was your favorite dressing up cosplay thing?
For myself?
Yeah, was it your Sith Lord? Which was pretty badass.
That was pretty cool. I think that one was probably my favorite because I didn't necessarily put a lot of effort, but I built my lightsaber like myself, and yeah, I think that was
contacts the entire day.
Oh, that was horrible. That was the worst
because you couldn't see.
I couldn't see anything, and then I put my contacts on top of my contacts.
No.
I did that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was horrible. It was the worst.
I still like my Dennis Nedry one. It didn't really get that much like attention the first 2 years that I did it, but the last year I think it was like somewhere around there. When Jurassic World was getting like all the hype. So that was really fun. I like doing that one a lot. It is still ridiculously hot in that one because it's a raincoat, and we're talking Phoenix Comic-Con here, which is Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Which is hot.
We have to call it Fan Fusion now, but the ones we were talking about were Phoenix Comic-Con.
I think the Nightwing might have been my favorite.
You had so much fun with that one.
Yeah.
I also liked the Mario and Luigi one that I did with someone else, but we don't need to talk about it.
Just we can redo it. We do it better.
Yeah. Do you want to do it how like the style that we did, or something totally different?
Zombie.
It was just apocalypse. Like think like end of the world, nukes fell. We're surviving. We were dirty. We had the Nintendo guns, you know, like all those kind of weapons. Could be fun.
I think it could be fun.
Could be fun. We could do it way better.
We could.
But anyways, to continue along, so we did all these dress ups and having fun, and like we were really big into YouTube. And then throughout this period of our lives, a little app came out called Vine. Vine messed us up. You know?
That's all we wanted to do.
We wanted to be Vine stars.
So bad.
That we tried so hard. And I think the most we ever got was like 3,000 followers. Which is a lot.
Yeah.
But not.
But also, that's all we did.
Yeah, we would stay over at each other's houses making vines.
We lived together for
the end part of Vine.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so that's the part that I don't like about it, is that we forgot about everything else.
Yeah.
Everything was just trying to make a Vine.
Yep. And we had a couple that were like pretty pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had some good hits.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember the one where it was like when you're roommates with, I don't know if you were there that night, but it's when you're roommates with Peter Parker and he's got a cold. And then we hung up a bunch of fishing lines, like from one corner to like in the kitchen. I was like, hey, Pete, you need anything, buddy? I know you're sick. And then you just hear the, and we pulled the fishing line and like soup and saltines and like orange juice pops up. And it should have blown up, dude. It was so good. Oh, a box of tissues, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why
I don't
did he
think I was
not
a
just
part of that
grab them? But, you know, it was funny.
We did, and then we did. Well, I don't even want to talk about all of them, dude. To be honest,
Some of them were really cringe, really bad. Just for the time, we were 21 ish around there. So most of them were made when we were drinking and partying, and so they didn't do anything. You know, like it was just us like listening to music. Like I still remember the one where I think it was you, me, and Artie maybe in the car. And it was all about how like, when Pandora loses connection. Do you remember that one?
I think so. Vaguely.
It was like I might have been Killian, but we're like jamming out and then it just goes silent and we're like, what the and the music kicks back in. I don't know. We spent too much time on that app. I know that.
Yeah.
We stopped making YouTube videos. Not that we were really at this time. I think we stopped going to movies so much around this time too. Because we were both working different jobs now. I was still in college. We were living together, hanging out all the time. But again, we had just turned 21. Yeah. So we were focused on other things a little too much, you know?
Yeah, and I started my current job where I was working nights.
Yeah, so we didn't get a lot of time to do anything.
And I was at the beginning of my career where I didn't have very much freedom.
And you were taking it really, really serious. So, like, if you didn't get enough sleep, like...
Oh, yeah.
You were like, I have to go to work, guys. I can't hang out. Like, I need to sleep. You know, like... Yeah, dude, it sucks.
Well, because I started at 10 p.m.
when we were going out.
Yeah. And I'll be like, dude. But you don't even know.
But we did start going out once a week, like on your day off. Yeah. You know, good and bad thing. You know, we were out there hanging out, still doing our thing. Yeah. We watched a lot of bars on 4th Avenue get destroyed. And by that, I mean, like, the bars we used to go to do not exist anymore. We watched them turn into apartment buildings and parking lots, which is kind of sad.
And hotels, right? One of them's a hotel.
One of them's a hotel now. I don't know. But we started doing all that, and that's about the time that I started getting into like theater in college.
But right before working at that job, I started getting really into acting.
Yeah.
And I did some improv classes and stuff like that, which was cool. And then we auditioned for the Hangover movie.
The Hangover, yep.
And I got casted. And I was an extra for a whole week on the Hangover 3.
And I wasn't.
And I was like, you know what? This is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. Like, I got to see how movies were made. I got to see, you know, like, real life on set experience of a major feature film, you know? And, that sparked so much. Yeah. You know? And I was like, I want to do that. Are we doing that? No. But it's still, like, pushed me to like, because that was at that point that was my dream. That was when I figured out my dream. I was gonna go be an actor. Now I took a couple classes and we did some stuff together, but then I quickly realized that I wasn't ready to put in that sort of effort to make that dream a reality. And like I wasn't that good. You know what I mean? Like thinking back, I'm like, yeah, I wasn't that good to where like it was gonna be like, oh my god,
you're the next
sign
star.
this contract
Yeah,
now. Yeah. So I was on set of The Hangover 3, did a lot of improv stuff, and that was right before we moved in to get together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved in together.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vine, and then
I started going back to Pima.
you started musical theater,
yeah, just
right?
theater, musical theater. I was still taking film classes. So I started taking, I think, just one film class. I was doing like an editing class where we were editing episodes of Monk at the time, which was weird and fun. Like, oh, this is a real show that I'm taking the dailies of and turning into a show,
Yeah.
But I really got into acting as well. I'd always loved theater. Like I was in theater in middle school and high school, but I never really pursued it. I never followed it up. And hanging out with Eric was like, hey, they're gonna do Treasure Island. We should audition. I was like, hell yeah, I want to be a pirate. I got in. I'm pretty sure I brought you along.
You did?
To the audition.
I tried to sign up for that audition. Well, so there was a couple times I was with you regardless, but I think I was like, yeah, I'm gonna audition too.
Yeah.
And I went completely unprepared, like no monologue, no nothing. I was just like, hey, I want to audition for this play. And I think they were like, because they had a table set up, right? And they're like, oh, name and student ID. And I was like, well, my name's Juan. Yeah, you can go write it down right there. You can write it down. But they were like, oh, you're not a student, you can't audition. And I was like, oh man.
But I could have been a student.
I could have been a star.
So yeah,
you were making a real big mistake.
I got in.
Yeah.
I actually had lines. It was my first time acting since probably like, was it sophomore year of high school? I want to say. So it was all new to me. I talked about it last time. I don't like being in front of the cameras. I don't like being in the spotlight unless it's theater. And I don't know what it is about theater. Like I love tech, like being behind the scenes in theater. But when it comes to theater, I want to be on stage. I want to be there. I want to be part of it. It's something totally different. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like, it's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I messed up 2 nights ago. Tonight I'm going to make sure I don't mess up. When it comes to video and like performing like in front of cameras and even this, like when we flub, when we say something wrong or whatever, it's there. It's on camera. It's recorded. It's there. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That bothers me.
I mean,
but also
we could cut it back, which we don't.
And I think the only times we ever have is because we really mess something up. Like, didn't hit record. Well, let's not talk about a couple weeks ago. Or like when like there's technical difficulties mainly because we're not trying to like hide anything from the podcast. We're not editing almost anything. Like seriously, I'm like trying to think, do we edit anything? I'm like, no, barely. Like,
not for the actual podcast. Yeah. No, like the clips or something else or the videos,
But yeah, so I started acting, got into theater, got into Treasure Island, auditioned for a bunch of other shows. And I think during this time you were just working all the time.
Yeah.
And I started getting more involved in the theater, and I started helping teach a screen acting class at Pima. So for one semester, it was only one semester, I was like an assistant teacher type of deal,
Nice.
I was like helping out and like, I was like, dang, I really miss being behind the camera. I really miss like shooting video because I shot all the projects for that. for that class, like the final projects. We had to act out a scene, and like shoot it and edit it and blah blah blah. And I was like, damn, I really miss this. So I auditioned for one more show at Pima, which was Curtains. It was a musical, and I got a lead. I never sang and danced in front of anybody before, but I had a really great time with that. Like some of the best times of my life during this time. It was crazy and it was lots of work, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But it also showed me that I really, really wanted to get back into filmmaking and videos, which then led to, after all the theater parties that we went to, which we don't need to discuss a lot of those, just saying to anyone out there who's listening, theater kids party harder than most people. I'm just going to say it right now. If you're like, oh, theater, like blah, 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 theater's stupid. It's not. I swear, dude, you're going to have so much fun. But wrapping all that up, what happened after that one?
We started a YouTube series called Rusty and Ash.
So this Rusty and Ash, that I was thinking about this earlier today. It was something that we wrote the first time in high school, and then we sat on it. You know, just put it away. Tabled it, put it in a basket, whatever you want to say. We just left it alone. And then during all that like theater stuff, I made a bunch of actor friends, right? So we had people who were willing to be in videos, like amounts of people we had never had before. Yeah. So we were thinking about this whole ensemble, like buddy cop movie, but as a series on YouTube. It was really dumb. Like, we were going for the whole like slapstick kind of like, one of the cops is the dumbest cop, but he always figures things out. Yeah. And the other guy's like the straight by the book, like grizzled veteran, you know, the trope of two cops. Yeah. But he is also brand new. You know, like he was brand new to the force and he's already acting like he solved 1,000 cases, you know? And that was what it stemmed from. We had episodes written, like 5 or 6 episodes ready to go. And then it all just kind of started falling apart. And I think we tried to shoot some stuff. We tried to make a couple like promos to just keep it going, but it was really like a lot on our plate. And a lot for everyone else to be a part of. So, yeah. What were your memories of Rusty and Ash?
I remember. So, I was Rusty, right? I was the serious cop one. I personally felt like you wanted me to be too serious, and I understand that was the character, but I think I messed it up a lot, and I don't know, I just remember feeling very uncomfortable with the character. Yeah. I know I've never told you this before, but I just felt uncomfortable with having to be that guy, you know, like just something I wasn't used to. And I think it was a lot of fun, but we definitely could have done better, because the intro we did for that movie, which I loved, we were both goofy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then that's where it kind of threw me off, where I was like, why? Like, I get it, I have to be serious, but like I could be goofy too, which I was more comfortable with. And yeah, like I feel like you had a vision of like this guy being like, just like you said, by the book, jaded, fucking just doesn't want to work with anyone type of deal. And I was just like, but can I like...
But that
Can
was
I fall or something? Like
that was the whole thing, though. It was supposed to be like he gets over that, you know,
Yeah.
throughout the series, and it becomes more of like a you got to let your hair down kind of situation.
Yeah.
But we never got there. You know, we never got past the first scene of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun writing it. It was really fun watching buddy cop movies from like the last 40 years, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was watching things like Starsky and Hutch and like Chips, Lethal Weapon, all those kind of things. But the worst part is when we started making that too is when the buddy cop like resurgence was coming along.
Yeah.
Because I think they remade Chips around then.
Yeah.
And then like later on down the line, we got Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is almost like the same kind of vibe, you know? So it gets tough.
just recently started watching that again.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. We could never do it, you know? And now like with that show being what it is, like making anything buddy cop related is going to be compared to that, and there's no winning. You know, there is no winning. But Rusty and Ash was a huge undertaking that I wish we could have done more.
I think for our next couple projects, we should lump that whole couple years together.
Yeah. So we
Right.
started making a bunch of stuff.
We started a new YouTube channel.
First, though, before we talk about the new YouTube channel, I had dropped out of college by then. I was not going to college. I had worked for a couple years. Like we
didn't live together anymore.
Yeah, we're jumping there's a huge gap there.
Huge gap.
So we moved out to different places. I think legit, we were all 21 to 23 at the time.
Yeah.
4 dudes living in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
We got sick of each other, you know, like, and it wasn't to the point where we were like mad at each other. We just didn't want to live together.
Yeah.
So we all split up different ways, different places, different people. I started living with, I think I went, where did I go? Producer Chris's. Yeah. Producer Chris's. Which was awesome for a lot of our next couple things. Because we started coming up with all these different ideas, and then it was like, let's get Juan in this, let's get Killian in this, let's get Artie in this, let's do this.
And then and then we
Just a moment
started
of silence.
that YouTube channel.
Yeah. So I just had to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was called Tangled Beards.
Tangled Beards Productions.
Was a majority of you and Chris.
So it was me and Chris as the production side of things, and then you were like in everything. You were like the guy in everything.
I was the Simon Pegg. No, I was the. What's the other one?
There's Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Edgar
I was the
Wright.
Nick Frost in the Simon Pegg movie.
No, you were.
I was
You were Simon Pegg in the
Edgar
Wright movie. There you go.
No. Hang on.
Get it right. But you were also writing with us. You were coming up with ideas, and we made a lot, you know, in this short period of time.
So those projects that we did were...
List them.
Pokemon Go. Rehab.
Such good timing that we made that video. It was within a week that it came out.
It did great.
It did great.
Yeah.
You can still find it on YouTube. And it was shared heavily in Virginia.
And it's still great. Oh, and a blog wrote about us in Maine, right?
Was it Maine? And a radio station talked about us in Virginia or something. I don't know.
There was Trapped in a Small Space.
That was like one of those throwbacks to us in high school kind of videos where we just had an idea. We didn't write a script.
Yeah.
We just wrote bullet points down and said, let's make it.
And it was way too long.
Yeah, way too long. Funny as heck.
But way too long.
And I think that's about the time we started realizing that has always been our problem. Is we make things... Wait a second. We're 50 minutes into this already.
Oh my God.
After Trapped in the Small Space.
We did Waldo.
So
that was like a Waldo horror movie trailer.
Yeah, and that was your idea that you came to us with.
Uh-huh.
And we wrote it and we shot it over the course of like a weekend.
Uh-huh.
All across Tucson. And that's still online too as well.
Yeah.
At the Tangled Beards.
Yep, it's all still there. And then we had
yep, it's all still there.
Camp/Rager, which was like a big production for us.
So this story is my baby, you know?
Yeah.
It's the project I've been working on for the longest time. And I wrote a script based on a song that I heard on the radio. I came up with just a shot in my head about I can't remember the song now. But I think it's Stay With Me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, wouldn't it be funny if this song was playing while two people, like a couple, they're getting like killed, and you just see their hands reaching out to each other in the dirt. And that spawned this entire idea for Camp, which was a story that I think we wrote it in one night, me and Chris. And it's an homage to slasher movies, specifically Scream, Friday the 13th, and a little bit of like Halloween kind of vibes.
Yeah.
But it was a group of high schoolers are going camping in the desert to celebrate graduating high school, and they all get murdered.
Murder.
And I don't want to talk too heavily about it because someday I would still love to make this project, but
yeah,
we realized very quickly that with a big cast of, at the time, high school students who were just wanting to do it, you know, to be involved. High school students shooting overnights on location gets cold as heck, you know?
Yeah.
We were out there like running extension cords from my car. You know, we plugged my car in, plugged all these lights and like cameras and everything into my car in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
To shoot this movie. And we had a lot. We had a lot done. And then I think people just started getting sick and they were getting tired, and it was like falling apart left and right. And I think we just ended up stopping production because we were like, let's wait and come back to it.
Yeah.
And then I think one person was like, I can't do it anymore. And was like, you're a lead. Like,
yeah.
Shoot. So I tabled that script and I set it aside, and I don't know how many years
that
went
was
by.
Camp.
That was Camp, yeah.
And then we did Rager, which was bringing it back a couple years later.
Yeah, it was a long time later, I think, right? At least a couple years, 4 years ish. I don't remember how long. It felt like a really long time, but I completely like rewrote most of the script. I added more dialogue. I took dialogue out. I took scenes out. I took locations out. Added new ones. Fixed the twist ending and made it even better.
Yeah.
Where I still don't want to talk about the twist because I think it's that good. But instead of high school kids camping in the desert, it was a college party.
Yeah.
A rager, if you will. I paid more homages to like funny horror movies, you know, specifically Scream. Like Scream is one of my all-time favorite franchises. But I also wanted it to feel like a 90s teen comedy.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to be scary. And we were so close to being done with this movie. Like, so stupidly close. Like, I think we only needed like a couple more nights. We were shooting in our house at the time, you know, like the house that we lived in, or that I lived in, with producer Chris. We had freaking catering. We had like crew members, like gaffers and like grips and all these things. We had a full freaking studio, you know. I had scripts written. We had like makeup people. We had freaking fog machines. We had all this stuff. We had extras.
We had a jib.
We did.
We had a jib.
Someone broke a
and
light bulb.
Ronin.
Yeah, like we had all the things, and it doesn't, like, I get it, like the equipment doesn't matter. Like we didn't need all that stuff. We just had access to it.
Yeah.
Right. We needed all the people. We needed the script. We needed the commitments, and we had all of it. And then what happened? Do you want to talk about what ended that one, or should we just leave it as is?
Well, I think the first downfall was a big old fight, right? A big old fight happened. We're not going to say who or what or when.
Yeah.
But a big old fight happened and it got really bad. And then...
and it was a fight in front of, again, like high school students who were part of the TV productions class that... Because at the time...
I don't think they're in high school anymore.
No, because...
It was the same students.
Producer Chris, at the time, was a TV teacher.
Instructor.
Okay. And so we were working on this to give them the experience. They were like providing their time, following labor laws. We looked up this stuff. You know what I mean? Like we had waivers and all this stuff signed for everybody. But yeah, so the fight was from someone not involved, right? Someone not involved in the production.
And me.
And you. But it's like reached out to everyone in a way. You know what I mean? Like this fight. Are we talking about the same fight? You know, the one outside in the front? Yeah. So we're in the middle of shooting like really important scenes and someone just barges in basically and starts screaming and yelling and ruining everything in front of all these kids, all these professionals. You know what I mean?
Well, we had professional like college actors too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And like all these people who are devoting their time and like or donating their time at this point, right? Like we weren't paying them. This was all for fun. And it just stopped everything right then and there.
Yeah.
The morale was gone. Everyone was sad. Everyone was upset. I don't know. It was the worst thing that has ever like, maybe not the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but like top 5, like most demoralizing moments of my life, you know, because everything was so good. Everything was going so strong. And like, we had such good footing and like the timeline were lining up and, yeah, I don't know. It just sucked, you know?
And then I asked, hey, when we're going to finish? And then apparently we lost the audio or something.
Oh, yeah. So the last 2 days of shooting, all of the audio, the microphone, I don't think it was 2 days. I think it was just like the last big day, like with the full crew, like with all the extras and everything. The party scene is what we were shooting. Someone left the microphone too close to the pool when someone jumped in and it messed up the microphone and our sound guy never called it out. So we lost 2 complete days of filming out of the 5 days that we needed, you know?
Dang.
So going back, it was just like, it was a 1-2 punch at this time. It was, hey, this happened. We're going to come back. We're going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. And then editing, it's like, actually, everything's gone from this one day. And it was, I think that day that we lost was not only the party scene, but like the final scene of the movie too.
It was the twist.
The twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were in the garage and everything like that. Yeah. And yeah, the sound guy, I don't even know who was in charge of sound. Really,
one of Chris's students.
Bro, I don't know. I just, even talking about it now, I'm feeling bad. You know, I feel like we wasted time, and I feel like anytime we have these really big projects that are going places, they like we're set to like be a disaster. You know?
Yeah.
It's like really sad. It's really demoralizing. It doesn't make me want to make shit.
Right.
But I still have that script. Still think about it all the time.
We can do it.
I'm going to have to rewrite it again.
Are we going to have to do a part 3?
Do you really want to, or should we just talk for another 10 minutes? We can't do it all in 10 minutes.
No.
We got a lot of life here.
I think we got to do a part 3. I think we have to.
Yeah, because I haven't even talked about when I went back to college yet.
I haven't even gotten into my photography.
Shit.
Or anything else. And we haven't like talked about our future of like what we want to do. We're going to do a part 3.
I hope you guys are okay with that.
I'm sorry to do it. We're going to do it. But guess what? Hey. It's our podcast.
It's our podcast. You're just part of it.
We can do whatever the frick we want.
Yeah, and we will. We will do whatever the frick we want.
So, with that said, thank you for listening to part 2.
Part 2 of now potentially 3 at the least. If we do a 4-parter, dude, we're going to lose our minds.
Yeah. Next episode, that's it.
The last one.
That's it.
The last episode. next week.
It's the last
The last
episode.
episode next week.
We talk about how we came so far and then in the end and
didn't even
matter.
But thank you so much for listening to this episode. What do you keep looking at? You keep looking at my shoulder or like this shoulder?
I'm looking at your MCR.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you seen the back?
No.
It's sick, dude.
Show me when we're done.
When we're done. It's an old MCR shirt.
Really?
It's really dope.
Anyways, I don't know why it just keeps drawing my attention. Yeah. Probably because it's so bright.
You'll talk to me and then your eyes will go here and I'm like, here.
Stop calling out what I look at,
It's
dude.
been all night though. You've been doing it. I'm like, is there something behind me? But thank you so much for listening to this episode of BJ in the Morning. If you enjoyed it, if you had any more sparks of what's the word I'm looking for? Inspirational sparks. You know who we're talking to. Leave it down in the comments. Let us know what else you want to hear us talk about. Mm-hmm. If there's any ideas you got brewing, we want to know. Yeah. Let us know. Let us take them and make them into another disaster.
Let us know and let it snow.
But also, I can't tie it in. Just go ahead and follow us on the following social medias: Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch at
BJ in the Morning _,
and on YouTube at
BJ in the Morning Podcast.
And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you.
Hit that like button.
And smash that bell. I don't know. How do they yell it? Smash the bell. Hit the bell. Leave a comment. Share the video with 5 people, and $5 will come your way in the future. But thank you again so much for listening to this episode of BJ in the Morning. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Juan.
And we
will
talk to you
next time.
That threw you off a little bit there, huh?
It did.